Hi, welcome once again to M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good! And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good! Okay, well, let's learn English together. Hello, I'm new here. What about you? No, sorry, that's not true. It's a lie. I'm not new here. I've been here before. And I reckon that you're not new here either. You could be new here. It's possible. It's within the realm of possibility that you've just bought your first TV and this is the first thing that you're seeing on your new TV. If that's the case, hello! Welcome to M5. Yes, this is M5. There should be a logo on the screen somewhere, a bunch of yellowish lines. 5 of them. Yes, that's it. Well done. Already I can see that you're getting the hang of this watching the telly game. You're obviously a natural at this sort of thing. Lucky you! All right, well, shall we make a start? I mean, that's what we're here for after all, isn't it? Yes, okay then. In that case, let's make a start on Friday, because as we all know, the sooner we start Friday, the sooner we can get to Friday! Yes, Friday's here, but it's still waking up. It's still sorting itself out. And to paraphrase Jeka, it's about as useful as the G in lasagna. But as the day progresses, all that will start to change. Friday may have started out as a 6-letter word with only one uppercase or capital letter, but by the end of this evening, Friday will have transmogrified into Friday, a veritable beast of a word with 6, count 'em, capital letters shouting about the place for all to hear. All righty, all tighty, as they say. Who are they, you ask? I have no idea, absolutely none. I don't know who they are, and if I'm being totally, brutally honest with you, I don't care who they are either. Yeah? So, what have you got to say to that then? Eh?
Nothing.
All right then, that's good to hear. So, no more daft questions about who they are or even who they might be. Let's get on with the lesson. Onwards, friends, onwards to glory. So, what have we got in store for you all today? Well, do you all remember the vocabulary we had a look at last Friday? It was Friday, wasn't it? Yes, that's right. We were looking at vocabulary connected to cars, weren't we? Yes! Although we all know that the vocabulary connected to cars usually also contains the vocabulary connected to most motor vehicles, doesn't it? A tractor has a steering wheel, a bus has got indicators, a lorry has got wing mirrors. So, although we said that we were talking about vocabulary connected to cars, in actual fact, this vocabulary also applies to other vehicles too. All right, but enough about that. Let's have another look at the interior of the car which we saw last time, shall we? All right, well, what do we all remember? Well, for a start, we know where the mirrors are, don't we? Yes, we've got 2 wing mirrors, one on each front wing of the car, and we've also got a rear view mirror so that we can see what's behind us. And what else did we learn last time? Well, we know that the car has a system of air vents built into it so that warm and cold air can circulate about the interior of the car. We heard from Batman that there are grab handles which people can hold onto if you drive around a corner too fast. And we also learned about the dashboard and the origins of the word. All right, but what else is there that we should have a look at? Well, one thing which is very important is the gear stick. That thing in the middle of the car between the 2 front seats. Yes, that's the gear stick, the lever we move to change gear. When we start the car is in neutral. The gears of the car aren't engaged, which means that we can put our foot down on the accelerator as much as we like, but the car won't move. In order to make the car move, we have to select a gear. Logically, when we want to start moving, we select first gear, and we do that by depressing, that is, pressing down the clutch pedal and moving the gear stick so that first gear is engaged. All right, but which pedal is the clutch? Well, in cars with a manual gearbox, there are 3 pedals. From left to right, these are the clutch, the foot brake, and the accelerator. And just in case you were wondering, it's the same in cars in the UK. The driver sits on the right and the steering wheel is on the right, and we drive on the right and we change gear with our left hand, but the pedals are in the same order. So if you drive a car in the UK, you might be confused by the fact that you're sitting on and by the fact that you have to drive on the other side of the road and you have to use your left hand to change gear, but at least the pedals are in the same order. All right, now when I look at this picture of a car, I can't really decide if this is a manual gearbox or an automatic one. The difference is that in a car with an automatic gearbox, there aren't 3 pedals, only 2. A car with an automatic gearbox doesn't have a clutch pedal. The clutch is automatic. A computer decides when to change gear. All you have to do is use the accelerator and the foot brake. But back to the more normal, more usual manual gearbox. To change gears, we have to disengage the gears, and that's a prefix at the front of that word, isn't it? The prefix dis expresses the idea of negation, or the idea of reversal, or the idea of the removal of something. Disadvantage, disbelieve, disengage. So when we think about disengage, we're thinking about the idea of releasing something. When we press down on the clutch pedals, the gears are released. They're not engaged, they're released. When we depress the clutch, the engine and the transmission system are disconnected. We can press down on the accelerator as much as we want, but because we've got our foot on the clutch, none of the energy produced by the engine will be sent to the wheels. So when the clutch is depressed, the engine and the transmission, the part of the car which sends energy to the wheels, these 2 elements are disconnected, which makes it possible for us to put the car into gear, take the car out of gear, or change gear. If we don't use the clutch and try to put the car into gear or change gear, then the car will let us know that we're not doing it right. All right, and that's not the sort of sound that we want to hear now, is it? No, it's not. That's a horrible sound. All right. So the 3 pedals, reading from left to right, the clutch, the foot brake and the accelerator. But as I said, I'm not sure that the car we can see in the picture has got a manual gearbox. I'm not sure. The more I look at that picture, the more convinced I am that this car has got an automatic or at least a semi-automatic gearbox. And yes, there's another prefix that we all know, semi meaning half. Your house might be semi-detached. You've got a building, another house connected to one side of your house, but not on the other side. Okay, so as I said, it's quite possible that this car has got an automatic gearbox. Okay, now, if that is the case, then what's that 3rd pedal that we can see? Well, if this is an American car, then that's probably what we think of as the handbrake. I know, it's obviously not operated by hand. We can all see that, but the Americans have a slightly different idea about handbrakes, as I mentioned. Americans call the handbrake an emergency brake or parking brake, and it's not important for them for this brake to be hand operated. I've driven cars in the US, and there the handbrake was a foot operated brake. And that's what I think we can see in this picture. But it's not a big deal, is it? No. Okay, what else can we see in the picture? Well, there's the radio or CD player or whatever it is there in the middle, but that's hardly the most important thing for the driver, is it? Well, what about something important? Well, what can we see? Yes, that's right. What about the thing we use to change the direction that we're traveling in? Yes. What about the thing we use to steer, to direct, to guide, to maneuver the car in the direction we want to go? Yes, of course, the steering wheel. And quickly now, think about how many wheels we have on a car. 6, exactly correct. 6, 4 on the floor, 1 in the boot in case we get a puncture, the spare wheel, and 1 inside the car to make it possible for us to change direction, the steering wheel. Yes, and that's another word we've seen before, spare, extra, supplementary, additional, spare time, spare change, a spare seat. They're all the same basic idea. When a homeless person stops you in the street, what is it that they ask for? Yes, that's right. They ask you if you've got any spare change. Okay, so for one, what's change when it's at home? Well, we know the verb to change, and we know that when we go on holiday, we change our forints into the currency of the country we're traveling to. If you're traveling to the USA, then you need to change your forints into dollars. If you're going to the UK, then you change your money from forints to pounds sterling. And what about if you want to buy something in France, for example? Well, in that case, you'll need to change your forints to euros, won't you? Okay, so we know the verb to change, and what about the noun change? Well, think about what happens when you buy something. It's very rare that you have the exact amount that the something costs. Normally, you give a cashier more money than the item costs, and then what happens? After that, the cashier deducts the amount of the item from the money you gave them, and then they give you your change. So change can mean the money you get back after you pay for something. But change is also a word we use to refer to money which is not made of banknotes, but coins. Someone might ask you how much money you've got, and you could reply, well, I've got 5,000 forints and some loose change. And the person who asked you knows that you've got 5,000 forints in banknotes, possibly a 5,000 forint banknote, maybe two 2,000 forint banknotes and two 500 forint banknotes. You could also have 5 1,000 forint banknotes or 10 500 forint banknotes. The combination isn't important. What is important is that we have distinguished between the banknote and the change. You want to buy something which costs 6,000 forints and you pay with a new 20,000 forint note. Okay, so how much change are you going to get back? Yes, that's right. You're going to get 14,000 forints back in change. Okay, and how are you going to receive your change? Well, we don't know, do we? That all depends on what the cashier finds in the till, doesn't it? But it's quite possible that your change will consist of banknotes and also change. So it's possible that you'll get some change in your change. Now, think about the spare wheel in your boot. Do you use it when you drive somewhere? Nope, it's there as a spare. It's there to be used if you need it. If one of your tires gets a puncture, then you remove the normal wheel and replace it with the spare one. Think about when you're at school. Do you have only one pen and one pencil? Probably not. You know that your pen might run out of ink, and the lead in your pencil might break. So it's a good idea to have a backup, a spare pen you can use if your pen stops working, a spare pencil you can use in case your pencil breaks. What if someone asks you to help them? If you've got some spare time, some extra time, then yes, you can help them. But if you're very busy, perhaps you have to tell them that you can't help them now because you don't have any spare time. If you take on 3 extra jobs to make some extra money for before Christmas, then it's very likely that you won't have any spare time for a couple of weeks. And back to the homeless. They might ask you for some spare change. What they're asking is whether you have any change that is spare, any spare change that you don't need and can give to them. They'd like you to give them any money, coins that you don't need. They're asking if you have any spare change, any additional coins, not banknotes, that you don't need, some coins that you won't miss. Okay, so there's a spare wheel in the boot of your car and there's a wheel in front of the driver and 4 wheels on the floor. 6 wheels in the car, people. 6. All right, we've got a couple of minutes left. So what other important items can we see inside our vehicle? Well, we've got the headrests. Are they important? Well, yes, they are. What happens if someone bangs into the back of your car? What happens regarding movement? Struck from behind, your car will move forward. But you don't weigh as much as your car, and that means that your inertia is less than the inertia of the car. And what does that result in? Exactly. The car moves forwards and you move backwards. Specifically, your head moves backwards. And if there's nothing there to act as a brake, you're going to hurt your neck. If the headrest isn't there, you'll get whiplash. Essentially, your neck does this. And on that informative note, I think you'll all find that our time is almost up. Yes, time's up, not down, and that means that I'm going to have to leave you. remove the odours from your body, and then blast your armpits with antiperspirant. Make sure that whatever else you don't, that is, don't smell like a homeless dinosaur's armpits when you head out tonight. See you later, people. See you after the weekend. See you on Monday. www.mediaclick.hu. Bye!